Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. If you have a blanket, that's great. We're going to be using a blanket for this first pose. So take your blanket and roll it up. I'm making mine a little bit fat. I like a little bit of height under my upper back. So you can decide how much height you want to have for your blanket. This is a relatively small one. So in fact, I'm going to change it out and use my bolster because I need a little bit more height. So lie back over your rolled blanket or a rolled towel or a cushion or a bolster, whatever you happen to have. Let your arms come out to the side. So the bolster is under your thoracic spine, which is the back of your boobs. So pretty much just straight behind your nipple line, so that your whatever your support is underneath your armpits. And once you have yourself settled, maybe you need some height under your head. So you want to check in and make sure that the back of the head is on the floor, not the crown of the head. You want to be looking up towards the ceiling. And then choose the position for your legs. You may simply want to stretch the legs out, or you might like to bend the knees up and either take the feet wide apart, dropping the knees together. This is really lovely for the sacrum region, and it's quite a nice release for the psoas. Or you might prefer to take the soles of your feet together and let the knees drop apart. Or there might be some other variation that I haven't mentioned that works for you. So find the place that feels most comfortable. If you're using sock balls, those 2 tennis balls in a sock, you'd need 4 tennis balls or 2 of those, and you can pop them under your buttocks if you'd like to. And then let yourself sink in. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths. Feel the chest expanding and contracting. Feel the life pouring in as you breathe in. And let yourself sink and release as you breathe out. And you can stay like here in stillness. Stay here in stillness if you'd like. Or if you'd like to bring a little bit of additional stimulation in, bring your hands together in front of your chest and rub your palms vigorously, creating friction and creating heat in the palms of your hands. And you need to be relatively energetic to get the heat going, especially as it's a little bit cold this morning. And then we're going to do that 3 times. The first time placing the hands on the upper chest, just below the collarbones, the very top of your rib cage, the top of the heart. Encourage slow, steady breaths as you feel the warmth of your hands sinking in. Concentrate the breath underneath your hands. Notice that you'll also be expanding the lower parts of your torso, but really focus your attention on the top part of your lungs. Our breath is vital, and it's such an important part of our immunity, making sure that we're breathing fully and deeply. So you want to try and access all aspects of our lungs. Once you feel that your hands are starting to cool or you've had enough time here, bring the hands back together and rub them vigorously again, creating that warmth for the second setting of the hands, which is the rib cage underneath the breast. So bringing it to the lower ribs. You may be able to touch your 12 floating ribs, or your hands might be so small that you're only on the mid-thoracic area of the ribs. Feel how when you breathe in, the rib cage expands towards your warm hands. And when you breathe out, the rib cage contracts. Focus your breath into this region, floating along with each exhalation and inhalation. And then when you're ready for the third position, bring your hands back above your head and rub the palms vigorously one last time. So your hands are probably getting a bit warmer now. It's easier to heat them up. Really feel that friction. And then take your hands onto your belly, onto your abdomen, above the hip points, but slightly below the navel. Maybe your thumbs are about at the height of your navel. And then begin to breathe here. Feel yourself breathing as low as you can into your lungs. Feel how the belly lifts as you inhale and how it drops back as you exhale. If you haven't done so already, let your eyes fall closed. focusing your attention and your energy on your breathing. You can keep your hands here for the next 5 and 6 breaths in this pose. Or if you'd prefer to, you can return your arms to the position out to either side, counting 5 more deep, slow breaths. Watching the entirety of your lungs fill as you breathe in, allowing yourself to sink in to each exhale. We're going to be doing a lot this class that's focused on opening the lungs, opening the back door of the heart, stimulating the lymph, particularly those in the underarms, and waking up the spine as well. A lot of work on our torso. On your next exhalation, we're going to start to make our way out of this pose. If your legs are in Baddha Konasana or butterfly, bring the knees back together. Bring the feet together if they're apart, or bend the knees if your legs were straight. Roll to one elbow and move your bolster out of the way, and then return to your back. As our rebound from that pose, we're going to do some dynamic movements. Set yourself up so that your knees are bent and your feet are in line with your knees and your hips. So the feet are quite comfortably positioned on the floor, not too close to the buttocks, not too far away. Bring your hands behind your head and interlock your hands. And we're going to take some movements, working through cat and cow, but supine on the floor. So first of all, we're going to work into cat pose, which is rounding our back or flexing the spine. So as you exhale, push your lower back into the floor, lift your head and your shoulders as though you're trying to do a little baby sit-up. And then as you exhale, I'll tell you the breath in a minute. We're going to change into cow position, tilting the tailbone into the floor, lifting the lower back and arcing the front of the body. So the head is returning to the earth with the hands still behind you. So much so that you can get a fist underneath your lower back behind you. And then exhale, return to that first position, cat pose with the head lifted. And inhale, come into the arched back. Only go as far as is comfortable for you, and you'll find that you need to use your pelvic bone as well, tilting it one direction and then the other. We are rounding our back and then we're arcing the lower back, moving in time with our breath, nice and slowly. You can keep going with this movement, straight cat and cow, or if you'd like to add a little bit more complexity, bringing a twist into it. As you next move into the cat variation, where the back is pushing into the floor, take your left elbow in the direction of your right knee. And then return into cow pose, arcing the back and the arms, the backs of the arms towards the floor. And then when you next come up, bring your right elbow in the direction of your left knee. It'll be nowhere near it, but it's just moving that direction. And then inhale, release the head and arms back and arc the lower back. One more time to each side if you're twisting. Otherwise, twice more in the less complicated version. And then as you next exhale, release the hands from behind the head. Let the hands rest onto the belly. And take some slow, deep breaths in and out. On your next exhalation, bring your knees in towards your chest. And we're going to either rock to our side or rock and roll to come up to sitting. So you choose which is the best option for you to come upright. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take hold of your blanket, fold it up nicely and have it handy, or use it under your sitting bone if that helps with the forward tilt of your pelvic bone. So you want to be nice and comfortable here. With the legs stretched out in front of you, make some circles with your ankles. Whenever we work the calf area, particularly the soleus, which is the muscle behind gastrocnemius, a more obvious calf muscle, change direction of your feet. We're helping to get the venous return, so the blood heading back to the heart. We're also helping our lymph circulate, and we want our lymph to be really robust, particularly at this time. Coming to stillness with the legs, bring your right knee in towards your chest. If it's comfortable for you, open that knee out to the side. If it's not, find a different position for that leg. Maybe just you step the foot out to the side. Maybe you take that leg straight along the floor out to the side. So you want to be comfortable here. No pain in the knee or the hip, and just depending on how your body's feeling today. Bring your hands together in prayer position. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, twist a little to your right towards the direction of that bent leg. And then inhale back to center. We're going to do this 5 or 6 times. We're not trying to go very deep. Just start to get the sensation of twisting through the spine and working with the breath to achieve that. On each exhalation, you twist. And on each inhalation, bring yourself back to the front. One more time, moving dynamically. And then release the hands down, and we're going to twist again on an exhalation. And this time use your hands to support you. The left hand might be outside the right knee or leg. The right hand on the floor behind you. Try not to lean back on that hand, but keep yourself lifting up away from the floor. Soft belly. Nice, deep, slow breath. Let the front of your chest remain open. Collarbones broad. Breathing into the entirety of your lungs. Choosing a position for your head. It could be with the face in line with the chest. Or maybe you've got your head turned to look over your right shoulder, back behind you. Decide what's right for you. Slow, deep breaths. We're not trying to go to our maximum twist here. Simply take the vertebrae of the spine, change their orientation in relation to each other. Articulate them around that central line of the spinal column. And then be still as you next inhale. Carefully bring yourself back to the front. Inhale, raise your arms up. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward, circling the arms around and bringing them back toward your body. Keep going a few more times, or as many times as you need to. If your body is feeling open enough, you can certainly sink into the forward fold straight away. But it is so nice to give your body time to adjust to what we're asking it to do. Moving with the breath if you're still circling. 2 or 3 more rounds depending on what works for you. Maybe you want to do more. Perhaps you want to keep moving the whole time. It's a very Qigong style movement which helps to circulate our energy, enliven the body. When you're ready to, let yourself sink into the stillness. Maybe the forearms are on the floor. Maybe you use a prop. It could be that a rolled blanket is comfortable for you to place your arms on over your leg. If you have a bolster, if you have blocks, you can use whatever helps for you to be comfortable here. If it's not comfortable for your spine, you could take more height under your seat so that you've got more of a forward tilt of your pelvis. Or the other option is that you could take your legs up the wall. So the left leg would be extended up the wall and the right foot would be like in tree pose. Settle into the rhythm of your breathing. Let the belly relax. Soften through your shoulders. If you're traveling off to the future or the past, bring your attention back to the present moment. Back to your breath. Sometimes it's nice to pick an area of sensation on your body and watch it, observe it. Notice how it changes, how nothing stays the same. Taking a deep breath in here. Begin to prepare yourself for movement. And very slowly, we're going to start to lift our head and our chest, walking our hands back in. Bringing our right knee up and stretching it out. Moving the ankles again, or windshield wipering the feet in and out. We're going to head into the other side, keeping the right leg extended. Bend the left knee up and check in here. How does it feel for the hip and the knee? Can you open that knee comfortably to the side? Do you need height under your seat? Or is that leg needing to be in a slightly different position, perhaps in a bent leg out to the side, or even the leg stretched out? So find that place that works for you. Reconnect your sitting bones to the earth and bring your hands into prayer position in front of the chest. Take a breath in here, and as you exhale, twist to the left. And then inhale, bring yourself back to the front. We're not trying to force ourselves into the deepest twist, simply moving in one direction and then back to the front, to the extent that it's comfortable for the body. Feel the interplay of your sitting bones on the floor and notice what's happening along the length of your spine. Which part of your spine can you feel working the most as you twist? Can you let your belly be soft so that the twist becomes a little easier? You relax your right leg, your extended leg, and also your bent left leg. As you next exhale, release the hands and make your way into the stillness of a twist now. Left hand on the floor or on some height behind you, supporting you, so that you're not dropping backwards but remaining quite upright. The movement of the spine is one of twisting around its axis. We're not folding forward, we're not back bending. We're as aligned as we can be. There will be still that natural curve in the lower back, soft belly, open heart, broad across the collarbones. On your next inhalation, carefully return back to that forward position. Inhale, raise your arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward, circling the arms around and back toward your torso. Moving through these dynamic folds to prepare your body for what's to come. Notice what's happening through the glutes and the hamstrings and the calf muscles. What can you feel? Can you notice how your body is beginning to adjust, starting to prepare for the stillness of the forward fold? And when you're ready to, let yourself sink into the stillness. You can use whatever props work for you. You can always take your right leg up the wall as well. If it's not comfortable for your lower back, you can use your legs up the wall, so you're still getting the stimulation to the back of the leg, but the lower back isn't feeling compromised. Relax your shoulders. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere and see what you're able to let go of. Feel the flow of your breath in and out. When you practice yin yoga, I talk quite a lot about your edge. I was listening to Bernie Clark, who's one of the forefathers of yin yoga, as we know it, talking about yin the other day, and he brought up a very important point that people sometimes think their edge has to be intense, and that's not the case. We've got many edges, and we're trying to find our first edge, that first place that we have some sensation. And it's some sensation, it's not even a lot of sensation. If you were to graph it, maybe 25%. So you're not heading for that 75 to 90% sensation. You've just got a little bit, just feeling the tissues, getting some stress. And the stress is the thing that is providing your tissues, the yin tissues, like your fascia, which circles everything in your body, your ligaments, your tendons. It's providing them the stimulation that means that they wake up a little bit, they start to create more cells, so they're getting stronger but more flexible at the same time. So it's about giving them just enough sensation, and just enough is not intense. It's quite mild. So if you feel that you take yourself too deep into poses, then try for the next couple of weeks really only dropping in a little bit, just to that first edge, and see what a difference it can make. Our yin tissues are a little bit, they don't like to be pushed, let's put it that way. They are a bit sensitive. They don't want the same sort of movement that our muscles enjoy. So we need to be sensitive in our ways of working. Taking a deep breath in here. As you exhale, start to walk your hands back towards your body, lifting your left knee up, stretch it away from you. We're going to come down onto our backs for a rebound, or if you would prefer, you can stay upright, hands behind you and chest lifted. So that's one option for the rebound. The other option, which is the one I'm going to take, is a mini shavasana. Let your arms and legs relax out beside you. Soften the heads of the shoulders, the whole of the scapula. Let your whole body rest and focus on breathing. One of the most vital functions in the body is a deep, fulfilling breath and an exhalation. We need to exhale just as much as we need to breathe in. Getting rid of toxins, eliminating those gases that are poisonous to us in too high a volume. As you next exhale, bend your knees in towards your chest. Take them in for a moment and then choose how you want to sit up. You could roll to your side, or you could rock forward and backward, massaging the spine a little bit and encouraging the spine to wake up. Take your legs out to either side of you. I'm going to keep my knees bent, but if you prefer to have your backs, your legs on the floor, then you can go with that. Bring your hands up in front of you as though you were holding a platter. So palms are face up. And then as you exhale, start to tilt your hands so that your fingertips are on the floor, and then slide the fingertips back towards you and take the whole of the palm of your hand onto the mat. Try and encourage the shoulders to be relaxed. It's really easy to hunch the shoulders up towards your ears. If you can maintain some space for your neck. To make it easier, walk the hands underneath the butt or the outside of the thighs. To make it more intense, walk the hands away from you towards the front of your mat. So find that place that's the right level for you, again taking into consideration your personal edge. You might not be able to get your palms completely to the floor. Whilst that's the objective, you work to within your bounds today. Take some slow, deep breaths here. We've got 5 flexor muscles on this inner side of the arm. So these are the muscles that work to flex our wrists and our fingers. And they can get fatigued. They can be overlooked. This is not an area of the body we often pay attention to. Even as a massage therapist, when I get a massage, it's not the space that lots of people work on. A few more slow, deep breaths. As you next exhale, release the hands. You can stretch your legs out if you'd like. Interlock the fingers. Reach the palms away from you. And take the arms overhead. You can stay in stillness here, or you can bring a little bit of movement in. Perhaps curving the body from one side to the other. Maybe having a little twist. Just doing what feels nice to your shoulders, your shoulder blades. Giving the shoulders a little roll as you're in this position. And as you exhale, releasing the arms down. I'm going to re-bend my knees. If you prefer to keep your legs straight, do so. Bring your hands in front of you so that this time the palms are facing down as though I was going to give you a lovely manicure. And then point the fingers to the floor, rolling over onto the backs of the hands. So now we're stretching the extensor side of the forearm, the four muscles that run up that side of your lower arm. Taking the hands closer in underneath you will make it a little easier. Taking them further away will make it a little harder. Find that place that works for you. Let your shoulders relax. And breathe. Deep, slow breaths. Turn your gaze inward, either physically by closing your eyes or letting the gaze be soft towards the floor and focusing your attention on what's happening inside your body. What can you feel at the wrists? What's going on in your arms, your shoulders, your whole torso? Notice what you notice. Last few breaths here. As you exhale, gently releasing those wrists, maybe circling them a few times, folding them forward and backward. Perhaps giving each wrist a tiny little massage from your other hand. And then once more, interlock the hands, stretch the arms away. Open up your body as though you were giving yourself a lovely big yawn first thing in the morning. Perhaps you want a side bend, perhaps you want to circle the torso or the arms. Let yourself move into those shapes that feel appropriate for you, whatever that might be. Any bit that feels a little bit in darkness or a little bit tense, stay with that a little bit longer. And then as you next exhale, releasing the arms down, giving the shoulders a little roll. Bringing the legs back in front of you. Checking in if you need some height under your seat. We're going to work into shoelace pose. Shoelace isn't for everybody. For some of us it is not appropriate for our hip, our knees, maybe our ankles. So I'm going to take you through it really slowly and you stop or go back to a previous step for what's appropriate for your body today. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and then see if you can take your right foot all the way across to the outer thigh of the left leg. So that's the first step, and that might be where you want to stay. You might not need to go any further. If you can, slide that foot towards the outer left hip so that you're taking your knees into a position where they're roughly stacked one on top of the other. This is half shoelace. So at any place along here you might want to stop, and that could be where you stay. If you want to try for full shoelace, lean back on your hands, tucking your left leg underneath you so that your left foot ends up towards the right hip, the opposite side of the body to where the right leg is. So this is full shoelace. So anywhere along there, along that path, stop or take yourself to full shoelace. So it just depends on your body. Please remember to be kind to yourself. We're not trying to force our body into any shape. Stay with what's appropriate for you. And from here, we're going to dynamically move from side to side. Exhaling to one side, raising the arm past the ear. Inhaling up and exhaling across to the other side. So as we move, focus on the outside of the body, the side that's opening, and breathe into that rib. Breathe into that lung. And if you want to stay for longer, stay for an extra breath or two in the side bend. This practice is about what your body needs, not what I'm telling you to do. So find that position for the legs that's right for you, and then work into the movement of the torso and arms that's appropriate. And perhaps it's not right for you to bring your arm overhead. Maybe you want to bring your hand to your head so you haven't got so much weight on your shoulder. Find what works. A couple more times to each side. Feeling the lungs expanding and contracting with the movement. And coming back up to center. I'm going to give you two options now for the static part. You can either work three options. Stay upright as you are. Maybe bring your thumbs into the kidney 1 point in the sole of the foot. So that's the first one. Just remain upright. If you've got a lot going on in the hips, you might not want to move anywhere else. You can twist to the right. That's the second option. Twisting is really good for you, really good for your spine, then work into the twist. The other option, which is more of a calming option for the mind, but very strong for the hips and buttocks, is to fold forward, softening the belly, gently rounding the spine, using height or support under the forearms or hands. So you decide what's the right option for you today. Wherever you choose to be, encourage your buttocks to relax. It won't always be possible to let go completely of the muscles, but invite them to let go as much as you're able to. Let the eyes fall closed. And turn your attention inward, watching the path of your breath as it enters at the nostril tips, travels along the nasal passage, down the throat, and into the lungs. Notice if you can feel your heartbeat. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to lift yourself back up to center. So if you're in full shoelace and you'd like to do the funky little movement to bring you to the other side, I'll show you that now and talk you through it. If you're not in full shoelace and you just want to release and have a little lie on your back for a rebound, totally go for it. Maybe shaking the legs out a little bit. If you want to do this tricky little maneuver, bring your hands to the floor in front of you, tuck your toes under and lift your knees. We're going to be walking our hands 360 degrees and swiveling our feet, but our feet stay in the same place. They just swivel in place. Walk your hands all the way back around to the front and then sit back with your legs around the other way. Very, very tricky. Now, if you have taken a wee rebound, bring yourself back upright. And for those that are already in shoelace and you're ready to go into either the forward fold, do the side to side again so you can start moving. For those that aren't, I'll just take you through the work that you're going to need to do to get there. Bring the left knee into your chest, take it across the outside of your thigh. Maybe you stay there, or maybe you can tuck that foot further back so you end up with the knees aligned. If you then want to try full shoelace, lean back and tuck your right leg underneath you so that your right foot ends up outside your hip, or any variation between those poses. So make sure you're finding the place that's right for you. And then begin to side bend, exhaling to one side and inhaling it up. We've already done this for quite a long time, so just a couple more times to each side before we move into the stillness. Of course, if you want to keep going with the side bending action for longer, do so. But when you're ready to come into the next variation, you can either stay upright, perhaps pushing into kidney 1, giving yourself some stimulation here. Maybe you would rather twist to the left this time, or perhaps you would like to forward fold over your legs. You don't have to do the same option as you did on the other side. If you want to shake it up a bit, perhaps you forward folded last time and this time you actually feel like doing a twist. That's okay. You don't always have to do things perfectly symmetrically. Let your shoulders soften. And take some deep, steady breaths. For some of us, this period of isolation It's going to be pretty intense, being separated from our friends and family. So I'm going to give you permission to only do things that make your heart sing. And that may be cleaning out a cupboard. I know I personally really enjoy getting rid of stuff and making my home uncluttered. It might be lying in the sun. It might be baking yourself a chocolate cake. Whatever is your joy, something that truly makes your heart sing, obviously within the constraints that we've been asked to live under. Whether that's just for today or for the whole duration. And I'd encourage you to do it for the whole time that we're in isolation. All day, every day, do things you enjoy. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly start to lift yourself back upright. Take your hands back behind you, unwind your legs, stretch your legs out. Come down onto your back and reach your arms overhead, stretching one side of the body and then the other. And then keeping the arms overhead, begin to walk your arms and your legs towards the right-hand side, coming into Banana Asana. We're keeping our buttocks on the floor. Just going to turn around so I'm closer to the microphone. So the butt is balanced on the earth. We're not tilting through the pelvic bone at all. We're not lifting one hip. We're simply curving our legs and our arms to the right. So the whole of the left side of the body is open and stretched, particularly the side waist. So we're creating space for our lungs and we're stretching out this area that can often be quite tense and stressed. If you haven't got enough stimulation down the IT band, the outer side of the thigh, you could cross your left ankle over the right and then once more relax. All yin poses require us to release muscular holding, but none more so than this pose. If you're feeling very tense and tight, you won't be accessing the connective tissue and the fascia that's all the way down the left side of the body. You'll be using your muscles instead. And it perhaps won't feel as good. So you want to really try to let go. Allow both legs to relax. Allow the buttocks to be soft and the hips to sink evenly downward. Relax the curved torso, the shoulders and the arms. Focus on being as soft as you possibly can. And then inviting your breath in. If you have your ankles crossed, uncross them now. And then carefully bring yourself back into that central line, releasing the arms beside you so that your shoulders have a break. Taking 2 deep, slow breaths in the rebound between sides. And then as you next exhale, we're going to work into the other side. So return your arms back overhead and begin to curve your body to the left this time. It's the arms and the legs and the side body that are curving. So the spine is coming into lateral flexion. The most static part of your body is the buttocks and the pelvic bone. There's not much going on through this region. Both sides of the buttocks remain on the floor. We're simply curving around, opening up the length of the right side of our body. If you need a little more juice along the outer right thigh, you can cross the right ankle over the left and relax. So a big part of this pose is being as soft as possible. The more tension you take in the muscles, the less effective it is for the rest of your body, the connective tissue that we're trying to access and stimulate. If your ankles are crossed, uncross them now, and carefully bring yourself back to center, releasing your arms beside you, readjusting on your mat if you need to, And then hugging your knees into your chest, taking your time to bring your knees in though. Noticing how that right side feels. Maybe you'd like to rock your legs from side to side, or circle the knees, one direction and then the other. Giving yourself time to adjust to coming out of that pose. And then coming into happy baby pose, take hold of the outside edges of your feet. Let your knees drop down beside you. You can rock a little here from side to side, or you can stay in stillness. If it's not comfortable to be in full happy baby, you can take hold behind the thighs, still with the feet facing the ceiling. Or if that's not comfortable either, come back into that pose where the knees are tucked into your chest, you're holding onto the opposite hand or interlocking the hands. Again, you can rock or move, or you can simply relax in stillness. So find the place for you that lets the spine be long against the floor. Allows you space still to breathe. Breathing consciously into the back door of the heart, the back rib cage. Feel those pushing into the earth. Utilising the side ribs as well, that area we've just opened up. And take a little rock. Or be still. Whatever works for your body. And as you next exhale, return the knees towards the chest, open the arms out to either side. And we're going to exhale the knees down to one side. It doesn't matter which way you go. Let your arms be open along the floor if that's comfortable for you. Or if the arm that's away from the knees would prefer not to be along the floor because the shoulders are feeling the strain, you can curl that arm around your head instead, or rest the hand at your waist. So find a position that works for you. We're only going to be here for around a minute. So keep the breath flowing into the belly. Notice what's happening along the length of your spine. Slow, deep breath. Take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, carefully bring yourself back to center, rocking or readjusting whatever you need, letting the spine recoil and return to its balanced position. And then when you're ready to come into the other side, extend the arms out and bring the legs down to the opposite side. Check in with the shoulder that's away from where the legs are. If you've got lots of tension across the front of your shoulder, then opening your arm out beside you probably isn't appropriate unless you've got some height supporting it. You can instead curl it around your head or bring the hand to rest at the waist. If you are curling it around your head, it's sometimes a better orientation for the shoulder to work forward and around and then release over the head. It just lets the shoulder settle, the head of the humerus settle into its acetabrium a little more comfortably. And let the eyes close here. And take some deep, slow breaths. As with the other side, we're only here for a short amount of time. Let yourself sink into the comfort of being in the semi-fetal position with the openness through the chest. And breathe into all that space that we've created during the class today. One last deep breath in here. And as you exhale, begin to come back onto your mat, hugging those knees in, maybe lifting your head off your mat, making yourself into a tiny little nugget. And then exhale, release. If you have your blanket handy and you'd like to use it for waterfall, blanket or a bolster, whatever you're using, push into your feet to lift your hips and bring the blanket or pillow or bolster or towel, whatever it happens to be, under your sacrum. Tuck your knees in first and then stretch the legs up towards the ceiling. Now, if you want to use the wall, which is a really lovely supportive way of doing this, I'm going to take you through that as well. If you're happy where you are, stay there. Let the legs hang in the air. If you want to use the wall, come over to the wall, lift your hip, the hips on the side of the wall up as high as you can, and then revolve yourself so that you're coming onto the floor as you swing your legs up, bringing yourself into a perpendicular position with the wall. And so you're ending up with your butt nice and close in. Once you're here, if you want to, you can bend your knees, push into your feet, lift your hips up, and pop that bolster underneath the sacrum. So not so much the lower back, although actually it's quite nice under my lower back, but just finding that place that works for you, and then let yourself release. So wherever you happen to be, wherever's the right position for you, let yourself drop in. Allow the legs to relax as much as you're able to, which is a little more difficult if you happen to have your legs in the middle of the room or in the middle of the air. But try and find some ease in your pose as much as you're able to. And take slow, deep breaths. When you're ready to come out of the pose and head into Shavasana, start by bringing the knees in towards the chest. If you're at the wall, you might find that you need to push your feet into the wall to move the prop and then roll off. If you are in the middle of the room, bring your feet to the floor, push into your feet to lift your hips and slide your blanket or whatever you're using out from underneath you. Maybe slide it down your leg so it ends up under your knees. If you're cool, cover yourself with a blanket and lie back on your mat with your arms and your legs extended. Relaxing the whole body. Letting yourself sink down into the floor. No need to strain. No need to try to get anywhere. Simply be exactly as you are. Deep, slow breaths. Relaxing each part of your body into from the tips of your toes up along the legs and torso, down along your arms to your fingers, up through your neck and into your head. Every part of you relaxing and releasing. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just breathe. Releasing your focus on your breathing. Begin to prepare your body for movement. Starting small, wriggling fingers and toes, and building up to stretch out your whole body. When you feel ready to, bending your knees in towards your chest. And either rocking to your side first or making your way directly up to sitting. In honour of your practice, namaste.
Namaste.